Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne Casdia. Our goal at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower others to fulfilling a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so that they can feel empowered to live the life they have always wanted and dreamed. We should lift each other up with encouragement and positivity. We are here to serve each other, and I am driven by a desire to leave the world better than the one inherited and relish the opportunity to make a difference one person at a time. And that is why we have Healthy Lifestyle. Wow, can't get my mouth moving today. Today on our show, we are fortunate to have Jeraldine Fedoriw, a program director for Adult Day Health Program at Gurwin Family of Healthcare Services. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, really. I know about the Gurwin facilities. They were in the early 1980s, as I understand it. They're a group of community leaders, and many of whom eventually formed the founding board of directors.
Yes.
And they gathered together to share a vision, and they wanted to build a nursing home that would provide the finest quality of care for frail elderly living on Long Island. And because of their dedication and commitment, this dream became a reality. So I guess back in 1988, they started with how many beds?
About 300 beds, and now we have grown to 460 beds.
Wow.
And within that, we've also developed, our short-term rehab. We have a vent unit. We have dialysis on site. The Medical Adult Day Health Program was established the year after the nursing facility was opened. We also have our assisted living facility within our campus. We have home care agency, a licensed home care agency. We opened our social adult day program last year, celebrating a year in July. And, we're just, it's a nice continuum of care retirement community.
Yeah.
That's we've developed. And we're waiting for our independent housing to break ground.
So help me understand this. So there's a lot of different levels here. Some people hear the term nursing home and they're like, ruh-roh.
Right.
And we don't want that kind of notation because you have a lot of different levels.
Yes.
Can we talk about the different levels? So we have assisted living.
Right.
So what is that?
So assisted living is people who are retired, still very healthy, want to continue living healthy, and just don't want to deal with the nuances of a big home or anything like that. So they can move into this beautiful facility where they can have their own room, their own space, bring in maybe a little bit of their own personal, little furniture or something like that to make it like it's theirs. And they can get as much assistance as they could
as possible.
Right.
So if they're functional and they don't really need a lot of nursing assistance, they can live there.
Yes, it's like their
but
apartment.
It's safe. It's
yes.
safer.
Right.
It's safer. So if something happens, there are people right there that can come up and help.
Right.
But the other thing, isn't this the capability to be in a community where you don't have to get in a car, you can go to part of the facility and enjoy other people's
right. They have their own activities going on. They can go downstairs for their dinner in the nice dining room. They have a lot of various
So they're
activities.
not eating alone.
Oh, absolutely. They have happy hour. I know I've been there for their happy
nice.
hour. It's really nice. I've seen a lot of them walk. I see them through my office. They're walking to the JCC next door. They use the facilities there, or within their grounds. They have sort of like an exercise routine that they can stop and do little workouts, and it's a beautiful, beautiful campus. So they can do as much as they want to, maybe as little as they want to, but it's there for them.
But there's an option. So if you want to
Yes.
stay home, like sometimes I feel like I'm a homebody and I just want to stay home and read a book, they could stay home and read a
Sure.
book
Right.
or do a craft, or they could go out and interact with others because sometimes I want to be around people and
Right.
because I just need to really
Or
interact
just,
with people.
socialize with people.
Yeah.
And if they need more help, then that would be assessed for them. There's different, levels of professionals in the facility to assess that.
So now, there was another level you mentioned you're waiting on building. What was
independent
the
housing.
So what's the difference between independent housing and assisted living? Is independent housing where they don't really get as much nursing
Right.
capability, and it's almost like living in their own home.
Yes, and it's just within our campus, and the grounds. It's a very beautiful campus. They have I believe there's a pool or several pools. There's gardens. There's a fountain. It's
Lovely.
It's sounds very lovely. I've seen the plants, and it's really just giving that up. Let's say if I lived in my own house and I sold that and I moved into this community.
So it's like if I were to, because I have a 4-bedroom house that I live in by myself right now. Now I want to downsize. So now if I went into this independent housing, I would still have all the comings and goings and doing everything that I want.
It's like a luxury apartment.
There you go.
And you're still there.
But it helps the transition if, God forbid, something happens.
I believe there's going to be options for them, whoever's moving in, to say, well, I might need this at some point and kind of buy into maybe a different level of care. So if something happens and I want to make sure I go into maybe our short-term rehab for rehabilitation, and I can go back to my own luxury, place again once I finish that.
And I got it. And so you could transition over to the assisted care, which is a little bit more nursing capability and maybe daily need, and maybe if they're not as mobile, that would be a better place. And then they could progress on, depending on the amount of nursing care, as opposed to going to a hospital, they could go to, the nursing facility. The nursing care facility, because it has a lot more medical attention.
Right.
So as we progress up the scale, we have more and more medical assistance if necessary.
If necessary. Again, the whole point really is to keep everyone as healthy in their own environment as long as possible. So having this, opportunity to sort of, be in your place, in your own home that you're comfortable with, and you can go out, get the services or needs that need to be met, come back still, you're being maintained in your own environment without having to, back in the day, I guess what they call, being institutionalized. Instead, you're aging in place.
This is not my grandmother's nursing home.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And the reason why I, from Healthy Lifestyle, was really interested in this, because this goes to the 4 pillars. And it definitely is talking about taking care of people's mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual side. And by putting them in a safe environment, that does a lot, not only for the senior, the adult, but also for the family. And that's something that I found interesting. You started as a social worker, right? With the
I was
organization?
the social work supervisor for the Medical Adult Day program about 12 and a half years ago. And about 7 years ago, I took over as the program director. And it's, I have to say, I'm very passionate about the Medical Adult Day program. I think it's like a really best kept secret, and I really don't want it to be such a secret.
But we're going to break that secret right now. We're making that secret jump out. Right. I think it's important to say this because I think there's a lot of presumption about day care for adults, and I love that you call it an adult day health program.
Yes.
So is this available only for people who are within the Gurwin facilities, or can anybody participate from the community?
Anyone in the community. It's open to the community. It is a community program, so we have folks that are coming from certain parts of Nassau County all the way out to maybe Setauket, Shirley.
Nice.
We have a large, catchment area because we can concentrate different transportation. We get everybody into our program. We provide the transportation. They get their meals, breakfast, lunch. It's a nice kosher meal,
Nice.
and we eat the same food, so I can say it's very good. And they have a lot of activities.
It's always good when staff eats the food, because it's good when the staff eats the food.
Listen, when the food is good, they always come. So I have chocolate in my office, because I always say if there's food, they will come, and then I get to get to know them more and find out more what's happening.
Well, you got me coming to your office now. You got chocolate, girl. So I just wanted to ask you. So I noticed, I read a Newsday article about the rain sticks. Can you talk about that?
I'm such a great
so
program.
Excited about this, because rain sticks are beautiful.
Right. So we have what we call a body and soul program. So we include Tai Chi, yoga, aromatherapy, meditation. So we started incorporating different things, and I had my staff, my social work staff, train on, they call EFT or emotional freedom tapping. The same person brought us the information about the sound vibration with the rain stick, and she had me hooked as soon as I read the information, because it's kind of like your program, your radio station. It's all about healthy lifestyle and working with everyone's as a psychosocial well-being. Everything from your mind to your body to your emotions, your medical issues, all in one, and you treat it with anything that's more natural as opposed to.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Right.
You are absolutely speaking my language, Jeraldine. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle on Long Island News Radio 103.9. I'm Lorianne Casdia, and we are speaking with Jeraldine Fedoriw. She is the Program Director, Adult Care Health Program for Gurwin Family of Healthcare Services. And we are talking about some of the programs in their Adult Day Health Program where anybody from the community can participate. Right. We were just talking about the rain sticks. And now you had mentioned emotional freedom tapping. Talk to me about that.
So the emotional freedom tapping, I'm not quite the expert, but we did go through a short training on it. Right. So it's tapping into all of your chakras.
Yes.
Have you heard of your
chakras?
chakras?
Of course,
so
chakras.
You tap into, so let's say I have a headache and you tap into your head and you kind of repeat the same. There's a kind of something you go through that you say out loud.
Like a mantra.
Mm-hmm. And then you keep tapping into the area where you want it to either go away or kind of not be part of your day at that moment, and free up your whatever's blocking you.
Right.
And that helps, and she gave us an example when we were doing it. She's like, smell the chocolate. And we're like, what do you want to do? We're like, well, we want to eat it. She goes, well, let's do the tapping. We started tapping. We don't want chocolate. We don't like chocolate. And when we finished the tapping, we smelled the chocolate again. I mean, seriously, I didn't want to eat the chocolate anymore.
Oh, how is that even possible? All right, now
it
I have to try this.
I'm telling you, I keep chocolate in my office, and I didn't want to eat the chocolate.
Yeah.
So we thought this was really something that we could work with. We have a lot of mental health population in the program, even our dementia, Alzheimer's, population. Trying to, if you've heard of the different things that they're trying to try that works, and I don't have numbers, but music is a very good treatment for Alzheimer's. To deal with the symptoms. Music.
Yeah, it's very soothing, and
right.
it brings actually music and smells.
Art. Right.
That all brings back memories that are generally good associated with the music or the sound. So
some of the things that they remember still.
And if you're into where some of our listeners are, yoga and meditation, the vibration from music,
right.
That's why it's so soothing and healing. And I know when I'm singing, no matter what kind of day I've had, I'm just in a happy place because it just makes you feel good. And also they use singing if you get nauseous and dizzy. It's a balancer.
Right.
It actually balances out your equilibrium so that nausea goes away. So if you're ever getting nauseous on a boat, start to sing. You got to sing. I wouldn't sing row, row, row your boat unless there was facilities on board, but I was just only kidding.
But actually when we were doing the rain stick therapy that day, I have a registrant who happens to be quite agitated and anxious, and she was kind of yelling out in this screeching tone. And when she started, playing a little bit of the music background, and she started talking about the rain stick and playing, moving the rain stick around and hearing it, she was calm. I mean, she was calm for a good while. The program ran for about an hour. She was still calm when we left and finished the program. So you're kind of just testament to some of the things that, the effect of these things to different diagnoses.
Soothe and and benefit the different diagnoses.
Right.
So, and you bring all these different programs. So this is your brainchild. I'm so excited that you're bringing all these things because it's very open. So you're looking at Eastern medicine meets Western medicine.
Right. Oh, we're not saying that medication is not necessary, but if you can have an alternative, or if you can combine both.
Yeah, they work together.
And give the quality of life for the people that come through any of the programs, any programs that's out there. But, certainly at Gurwin, that's one of the things that we want to emphasize is that, we're looking at you as a whole.
Holistically. Gurwin
Yes.
looks at each of their members or residents holistically, and then allows the community to come in. And that's where the vision of Gurwin is just totally brilliant.
Right.
Because you don't say, no, you only have to, only the people in here. Yeah. Your arms are open.
Right.
So tell me some of the other programs that you have.
In the Adult Day Health
In the
program.
Adult Day
So
Health
we
program.
do a lot of the holistic things like the yoga and Tai Chi. We have a wonderful, wonderful art therapy program our art therapist works with. And again, people who may have never touched a paintbrush or
A canvas.
Any of the mediums that you use for art, but they do. They come up with magic. We have an art show at the end of, once a year, and it's amazing what they come up with. We have a very young participant who had a stroke, and she's legally blind, but she does the art, and it comes out like a 3D art. And it's art in her world and how she sees the world.
Right.
Because of her vision or lack of. And it's like something you touch, it's
tactile.
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's really how she sees the world around her, and you can feel it.
Yeah,
how it's amazing.
That's interesting when art is just a different way communication form.
Right.
So they say music is like having a soliloquy, but it's put to music. So it's basically the same thing. It's a monologue to music.
Right.
And art, you can communicate as well. So for her to be able to communicate to the world what she sees, I think is just beautiful.
Oh, every time I talk about her, I have goosebumps, but those are the kinds of folks that come through our door. Our motto in Adult Day is, have a great day. And if we give them a great day for 5 hours, that mission accomplished.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, like anything, life is how you look at it. So if you get up in the morning and you're grumpy, you're going to have a bad day. Right. If you get up and you're grumpy and you go, okay, let me try to make this a better day, you can do that by altering how you're looking at your day.
Right. Oh, your mind is very powerful. So.
Yeah. Oh, amazingly powerful. And then when you walk out into a beautiful day like it is today, it just makes everything just go nicely. And even though we were having hiccups today, I know that the day is turned around and we were just like, okay, just go with the flow.
That's right.
Printers aren't going to want to work and the equipment doesn't want to work, but we're just going to go with it because you can't fight it, right?
Right, exactly.
So talk more about some of the other programs, because I know your art therapy program, you have your emotional freedom tapping, your Tai Chi, yoga, aromatherapy. You guys do meditation?
Oh, we do meditation, and it's a guided meditation. And the amazing thing about meditation to me actually is that one of our social workers does it in our room that it's a more of our lower functioning room where we have our developmentally delayed participants and more advanced Alzheimer's dementia. And that room is usually very vibrant and active. There's a lot going on in there. It's very dynamic. And once you do the meditation in that room, it is like you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
And to get that population to really kind of be part of that atmosphere, it's just wonderful. That means it's really effective.
Yeah.
And then they forget all the other things that we do. We have nurses. I don't want to forget about the wonderful nurses that we have.
Yes, they are incredible. They're very kind.
Oh, yes. And they will, they get their finger sticks done. They get blood pressure checks. They get medications, all of that. That seems to all kind of like, oh, that's right. I got that done today. I got my labs drawn today.
But it doesn't become their sole focus.
Exactly.
Their sole focus is on these other programs.
Right. They had an exercise with a physical therapist today. And, if the family asked them, oh, so how was your day today? I won at bingo today. You see my prize. I painted this today. Or they come home with some jewelry that they put together. That's the important piece, because even though their medical needs is really our priority and that's all being met, they forget about it. The quality of their life is improved because they're part of this program.
Right.
And that's...
So the proponent, we're kind of taking away demystifying the stigma of these kind of communities, and they're wonderful communities to be in. They're safe. Mm-hmm. The food is good, which is always a good thing. There's lots of great, amazing programs that are available, and people within the community can come into this community, the Gurwin community, Gurwin family, and participate in that, which is nice because then you can see where your adult care can come from, especially if you're someone my age who has parents who need assistance or aunts and uncles. It kind of gives you something to talk about, right? They get to go to a program. Then when they come home, they have something else to talk about as opposed to sitting by the door waiting for you to come home, right?
Exactly. And peace of mind for the caregivers. Their family members are safe. They're being cared for. We communicate with them if something is happening. We're seeing a change. And again, that's part of, them knowing they're going to be okay.
Understood.
They have somebody to help them out, assistance.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I hope I can have you back, Jeraldine. I just want you to go to Gurwin.org if you want more information about the different programs. Jeraldine, you're doing such a great job. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community. And then, of course, the Gurwin organization that are really thinking outside of the box and setting the standard on Long Island. And again, I hope you come back. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'd be happy to come back.
That's lovely. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne Casdia. We will be right back with our next guest. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lorianne. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas on the topics you'd like to hear more about, please email us at healthylifestyle@healthylifestyle@gmail.com and follow us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. Well, this afternoon we have Donna Martini, and she is a wellness activist, coach, and speaker who has spent over 20 years teaching people how to tap into their spiritual power using a process she named positive manipulation. I love that, and I can't wait to talk more to her about that. She is a 3-time author, and proud to say, with her new music video, Our Nation's Heart, she can now add songwriter, producer, and director to her resume because her resume before that wasn't enough. Donna, you're killing me. Her first book, The 10 Commandments of Divorce, helps separated and divorced co-parents maintain their marital vows of love and honor for the sake of their children and family. Her latest endeavor, my mini book of mantras, which I can't wait to read, takes the reader on a daily journey of self-growth and healing, which is my heart, Donna, and that's what I love to do. So I love to lift people up, and that's what Healthy Lifestyle is about, giving all different kinds of resources to our listeners to help them discover what's going to lift them up and what's going to make their life better. Welcome to the show.
So excited to share ideas with you. I was listening to the pre-show right before, and I was like, this woman and I, we have a lot to talk about. It's going to have to continue way beyond the show.
Well, we have a lot in common because, as you know, I'm a singer and you're a songwriter, so there's a symmetry there.
And I always need someone to sing the ideas in my head because I can't.
Oh, well, as long as we can do that, I will definitely work with you on that. That's so much fun. That's where my soul is the safest. Because I really it just comes out natural. So it's a gift that both of my parents, who were musicians, gave to me, and I love it. I love it. So let's talk about you. Tell me, what does positive manipulation mean? What do you mean by it? What are you trying to do? Help us understand, because I love that.
Well, it's already a process, You're angry in the morning. Perhaps you get on the road and you have this energy about you, right? You're tense. You're maybe late. You're running late. Somebody cuts you off. And instead of reaming them in the back or chasing down after them, what do?
Well, to me, I'm thankful that they saved me from a ticket or an accident, but that's just me.
Well, the point is that depending on who you are and the shape you're in, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, you're either going to do something horrendous or you're not going to do anything at all. Or perhaps you'll say a prayer for the person and send them love and kindness. So we manipulate ourselves not to do what we really want to do sometimes, just so that we can function, so we can be better people, so we can help someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Do you always tell the truth, even when your girlfriend asks you if her hair looks good this way, and it's not going to grow back for 6 months? What are you going to say to her?
Well, so you have to look at it. Well, my mom always used to say that if you're going to say something, is it going to change anything? If it's not, then don't bother saying it. So if my girlfriend says that and it's not going to be devastating for her or embarrassing for her, because I would want her to, I actually say to her what would be calming to me. So I may not say, no, go do your hair again, but it's like, well, we can make it look better.
Right. You're finding the positive, and that's the point. And we can take it another level, though. spiritually speaking, we can actually reduce the fear that we have being getting posed that question. And we can ask, what does that person need to hear?
Yeah.
And in our minds, in our right ears, we will have information come in that will be the exact thing that person needs to hear, that it doesn't go against our truth. And that will actually create something really beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's a part of us that we don't even realize we have to tap into.
Yeah, and it's so sad to think that we have to tap into that because it's natural in children. You know how
That's right,
honest
it
they
is.
are when they
Yes.
speak, and then somehow
Because they haven't
along the way-
developed a huge ego yet.
Yes,
That's our
exactly.
problem. We are more human than we are spiritual. But we only have to say, I want to be in my soul right now, and boom, we're done. We're there.
Yeah.
That's all it takes to get there. It's just to want to be more loving, more inspired.
Yeah, well, it's true. It takes that step, but it's unfortunate that we have to think about it because we've been trained the other way. Because instead of being in our observer, we're in our ego, and the ego is really, that's the yin and the yang, the ego and the observer. Mm-hmm. And the ego is that negative, black, the dark side, and the observer is that positive. Let's find a good way to take this lemon and make it into lemonade. Right. So I do think we spend way too much time on the ego side, and I actually find myself going, okay, wait, is this my ego? Or is this my observer? And 9 times out of 10, I go immediately to the ego side, and I have to teach myself to go to the observer side. So it's not personal to me.
I think there's actually, if you really do the research, and I've been doing it for decades now, there's actually 3 sides that we're supposed to be looking at.
Tell me.
So for instance, you call the ego, and most everybody does. I actually call it ego only because that's what people call it. That's what they understand. But I call it the human side.
Okay.
It's the part of us that's in a human body, and it's going to react a certain way based on our childhood experiences, what emotions we're holding on, what subconscious actions going on, what our genetics are proposing, what we ate that day,
right.
what the atmosphere is saying, if the moon is full or not full. I mean, come on, we know.
Yeah.
And also if we're being triggered by certain things that other people are doing and their energy, because we're energetic beings. So we're coming together and we're meshing now.
Right.
And we're feeling other people's emotions.
That's a hard thing is not to take on other people's energy and to be able to just really understand the difference. Mm-hmm. I know that about a year ago, I came up with this thing to be able to separate that for me, which is this is a me problem and this is a you problem. And I'm not going to own that. I will be here to support you, but I don't have to own it and feel it. And that's a really hard thing.
It is. And there are some philosophies like Ho'oponopono, which is an Hawaiian
Bless
prayer, right? Ho'oponopono. It's amazing because it's a philosophy that says if we are put together, then we are responsible for each other and what's going on and the energy we're sharing. And so positive manipulation teaches us that we don't have to be beholden to the other person's negative state of being, but we can absolutely help them if we're willing. And if we want to share love, we can. And if we are with someone in any way, shape, or form, we are affecting them. Even if it's because we're being so good about being ourselves that they're actually aggravated that they can't get there. So we're reflecting something good, but it has a negative response in someone because they feel jealous or upset or even frustrated.
Yeah, and I get that, but that's not really our responsibility.
It always is, because if we're with someone in any way, shape, or form as a human being and we're in the company of something, our responsibility then is just send love.
Well, we can
just
send love. I get
to
that.
not be annoyed by them, not to judge them.
Yeah.
It's
okay for them to be annoyed if that's what they need to do.
Well, it's in fact, we would be enabling them if we were trying to unravel their issues and they weren't ready or they weren't capable.
Correct.
So we need to just step back, and our responsibility is to say, okay, what can I do? Ask your higher knowing. That's positive manipulation, because most of us want to be aggravated, or we want to walk away, or we want to self-protect. All of this, by the way, is absolutely fine.
Normal.
This is all human behavior. But do we want to say yes to the ego, or do we want to say yes to the soul? Because I prefer to say no to the ego and yes to the soul.
Yeah.
Because that's when I'm in my highest resonation with all that's around me, all the goodness, all the power, all the love.
And it's easier.
Right?
It's a lot easier.
Long
People
term,
think people think that first reaction is the better one. It's the harder reaction because it leaves a trail. Yeah. Whereas when you react in a positive way and you use your observer, you're working from your heart and your soul. It is a lot quicker to turn it around, and it is a lot easier, and you find your day goes better, and you find that you feel better about yourself. And
I think, I equate it to like you're in your car, you're either going to push it to work or you're going to let it drive its you to work. And that's exactly, when we're in the human side of ourselves, we're so powerless. We have nothing really there to help us be more profound in our abilities and tap into our abilities. And we have so many spiritual gifts we don't even realize until we start to explore them and desire to explore them. That's when we start feeling it. That's when we start really engaging. And unfortunately, that's also when we get most challenged.
Yes.
Because if you're not challenged, how do you really know what your potential is?
Well, I've always said if you don't feel challenged, then you're not growing. And and that's in anything. So if you're bored at work, you're not challenged, you're not growing, you probably want that challenge. But a lot of people get into that comfort zone, and that's okay. Some people want to stay stuck. That's okay. It's your choice. You have a choice to be stuck. You have a choice to get unstuck.
What's really funny about that is they don't even know they're stuck. Because
in a lot of cases they don't. Yeah,
they just want to be there. It's okay.
It's true, but that's because they're comfortable and they're in their comfort zone. That's why pushing people a little bit and nudging them out of their comfort zone is a good thing. Not that it's my responsibility or your responsibility to do, but if you have a friend who's asking for the help, we kind of guide them out of their comfort zone to that Hawaiian.
Ho'oponopono.
Yes, it's a saying, or
yes, it is. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're covering all the emotional bases there. You're humble. You have forgiveness. You have love, compassion. And basically you're saying it, even if you're not the one who caused the issue, aren't you sorry that children were taken away from their parents at the border? It doesn't matter what side you're on politically, you're still sorry that a child suffered.
Right.
And so Ho'oponopono puts us in a position where we actually have the power to send love and goodness, forgiveness and everything else to start to heal that situation with no fault or blame on anyone, including ourselves, but just to bring the power of the love and goodness to the situation and take responsibility for that. Because, maybe you were part of the process as being an American, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle on Long Island News Radio 103.9. I am Lorianne Casdia, and we are speaking to Donna Martini, and we're talking about positive manipulation, amongst other things. That reminds me that you were talking about the Ho'oponopono, a Native American philosophy. I have Native American in my background, and I remember reading this book, actually my grandmother reading it to me, about a philosophy in Native American culture. And I love this, and it has stuck with me, and I remember it every single day. So in Native American culture, when you're standing anywhere, you can do anything you want. But it's like if you take a whip and you wheel it around over your head, as soon as the tip of that whip touches another person, now you're responsible for that interaction. And we're kind of talking about the same thing. And although we're not responsible for how they react, we are responsible for the fact that we touch them and how our lives touch each other.
Well, actually, we can accept some responsibility for how we react, because if we're not bringing the most love we can to it, then we can expect they probably won't react the same.
Well, that's true. I never thought of it that way.
So if we want to propose a symbiotic outcome to all of our engagements and discussions and dealings, then we can actually request of ourselves to put the most love in it and to have the most tolerance, compassion, and everything else. And then we'll get most likely the best response out of our interaction, out of that person. Understood. And that's what positive manipulation is. It's not about manipulating the person themselves. It's about manipulating ourselves so the energy that we share with them is the most positive.
It's positive. It's white light.
It has the most shot at being accepted and reciprocated.
Right. I'm very intrigued by the concept of self-esteem, low self-esteem, because I have found that people who might be challenged in that area, there are people, a friend of mine, Debbie Silber, talks about crabs in a bucket. And
I know Debbie very well.
There you go. So Debbie talks about crabs in a bucket, and I love this analogy because it's such a good visual that, they're crabs in a bucket, and you never have to put a cover on a bucket with crabs in it because they don't go anywhere. They just all wallow in the bottom to each other. Every once in a while, you get this energetic crab that tries to crawl out, and you see the other crabs like grabbing onto him and pulling them back down. And that kind of is a remedy, or reminds me of sometimes when people are being mean to other people, because while they're making the other people feel bad, it elevates their self-esteem temporarily, of course, while they're crushing people.
Well, they just want to know that they're all in the same bucket. that nobody else is allowed to be better. If they're stuck in that bucket, they want other people to be with them.
So how do you get out of that bucket, Donna?
Well, first of all, you have to desire better, and some people don't even know there is better, and that's why there's people like me and like you are trying to spread that information. Like you don't have to be stuck with what may day. You can create your day and make it better. Just be willing. The self-esteem issue, getting back to that, is probably the hardest thing to overcome. It's easier to love someone else than it is to love ourselves. We're stuck in our head. We know all the stupid rantings that go on there. We know the self-deprecation. We know the way we judge other people and where we're jealous or we're this or that.
But if we stop doing that, then we wouldn't be so hard on ourselves.
That's right. If we start realizing that we can't really truly love anyone else unless we can love ourselves, then we'll start making sure that we do say nice things.
Yes.
Let's point out the good stuff that's going on. That doesn't mean that we're bragging.
And it's not humble. It's just that we're pointing it out in a positive manner. And we need to be kind to ourselves. And I end every show with do a little something for yourself. That's part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Changing those tapes, right?
But see, when I first started out with positive manipulation, it was so I could be a better mother for the sake of my children. I didn't have the self-esteem to believe I was worthy of being better. It was while I was going through my divorce process.
Right.
And so, but doing it for them,
challenging.
Yes, I mean, doing it for them started lifting me. And then I was led and guided to this issue of low self-esteem. And then I was led and guided to how to love myself and what I needed to do to get there. I'm 57. I started this in my 30s.
Right.
So it's taken this long, and I still feel I can do more. Not to say that I don't care about myself now, but I look back and I say there's sometimes when I feel like I care more about the world and the people in it than I do for myself. And if I don't take care of me, how am I supposed to help the world?
This is true, and it's like you have to nurture at home, and it's a joke sometimes with some people as far as mom, happy life, happy wife, happy life. The truth is everybody's going to be happy if they're taking care of themselves, right. And that doesn't mean to disregard anybody else or at the expense of other people, but you do have to do something for yourself. You do have to make sure that you take care of yourself. If I'm running out of energy, if my glass is half empty as opposed to half full, that's going to affect how I react with my children, with other people in my life, and it just trickles. Mm-hmm. And so I rather leave a positive effect on a daily basis with other people and myself.
Well, the Ho'oponopono is perfect because we can do this prayer for ourselves. We can forgive ourselves for anything in the past, and we can ask for forgiveness from our higher power or even from each other, soul to soul. So
in the last few minutes that we have with each other, say it slowly, please, so we all can remember it and maybe even write it down. And then how should it be used? Should we do it every morning?
All day long that it comes to you. Just
Nice.
Keep on saying it like a tape recorder in the back of your mind. You can make it a point to say it, sit on a stone somewhere, get in nature and do it. You can do it while you're in the shower and around water, or any time that you feel you need it. When you're saying something negative in your head, switch gears with that.
Nice.
So it's 4
Push
phrases.
out the negative.
That's right. It pushes it out immediately. And when you do it in the beginning, you might think it's all bullcrap. You might not even realize
You're going to see a difference, I promise.
You are, and you're going to be led and guided to a different vocabulary, verbiage in your head. And so then you're going to start, one day you'll be saying it, and all of a sudden you're going to start crying because you're going to recognize there's a healing going on, a shift, and you don't even know how.
Yeah.
Which is the beautiful part. So it's 4 phrases in any order. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
One more time.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you can find it online. There's so much about it. It's Ho-Ho, H-O, apostrophe O-P-O-N-O-O-N-O. Ho'oponopono. It's another P at the end. Sorry.
Okay.
It's hard to spell that when you're not looking at it.
That's okay.
But you'll get it. As soon as you put it in, the Google search, you'll find it.
That is really a great gift, and we should all try it. And
that's just one form of positive manipulation. There's so many ways, like you mentioned before, and that woman that was on and talking about everything they were doing with the seniors.
Isn't that great?
It's exceptional.
It's wonderful, yeah. So I'm bringing to light, and we're helping from Healthy Lifestyle. We're bringing to light all these wonderful things that happen on a daily basis that nobody really knows about, or a few people know about, and we're trying to make that more important than some of all of this negative stuff that's out there that I no longer feel comfortable listening to. So this allows us to be better people and contribute positively into the universe. And that's definitely a direction that I know I'm going in, and I know you're in. Your mini book of mighty mantras. When is that going to be available, girl?
Very, 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 very soon. But you can email me at donna@donnamartini.com if you want a PDF. I'll be happy to send it out to anyone who asks while it's still in editing stages and getting printed. And the main mantra of the book: being born is your gift, living life is your challenge, being the best you can be is your choice. And that's really where our country should be at right now, understanding that.
You just gave me goosebumps. So it's WCUP.org?
Nope, I'm not on WCWP.org anymore. That's a radio show. I just ended that show last week, but you can still see my podcast. But my website is DonnaMartini.com.
Martini.
It's under construction, but you can get me at DonnaMartini.com. Anytime, that's my email.
Are you in social media?
I am on Facebook. You can get me there every day posting something positive.
Positive,
hopefully.
Yes, it's always positive.
It's not always positive for everyone because people want to stay angry right now.
Well, I'm beyond the angry stage. So we need to look for positivity because it keeps you positive.
Yes.
But thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate having you on. Please come back. Will you come back?
Anytime.
That's great. I love talking to you so much. And we need to talk about the song thing.
Yes.
So thank you again, Donna. Remember, thank you very much for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. I want to thank my guests today from Jeraldine from Gurwin, and of course, Donna from our positive manipulation. And of course, I want to thank our producer, Brian, who's always so quiet, but he always gives me that smile and the wave, which makes my day. In the meantime, follow us on social media and comments to us on social media, Healthy Lifestyle with LA. And remember, do a little something for yourself every day. It starts there. Doesn't have to be big, but definitely take a moment and do something for yourself every day. Create a habit. Create the new balance. Make it a new you. Make it your new normal. Thank you so much for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. Until next time, I'm Lorianne Casdia. Show up for yourself. Show up big.